Hey YouTube, this is Nash Taters. Welcome back to another episode of World of Visions. I hope you guys are having a great weekend, and today we're going to be talking about some interesting topic that I should have covered a long time ago, but I realized it is a good time to talk about it now since we have a big influx of beginning players, and perhaps some older players who have been playing this game for a while maybe don't really notice this, or maybe they have already learned it and don't really talk about it. But I looked it up and there's not much information out there in terms of recent content. So I felt like it's a good time for my channel to cover this specific topic. So yesterday we did Friday Free Thinking live, and I want to thank for all those folks who showed up and joined me in the conversation. We had a great time. We did some guild battles, we did some arena, and then of course we did some farming action while chatting up the topic at hand. And the topic was about power creeping, and is the game really moving in a direction where power creeping is a big issue? And I know the community right now is the hot topic, right? Everyone's talking about it. And I think we had a very good engaging conversation, and again I want to thank the folks, and of course I want to encourage more people to really kind of get themselves involved in this topic of conversation, because as a community we should be standing up for ourselves and telling the companies that if they are in fact giving us a lot of units or a lot of abilities that are way over the top and making older units irrelevant, we need to go ahead and speak up about it. But I think the community as a whole feels that the power creeping concept itself is not really out of hand, and I think we've been getting units and still there have been really good balances, and even new vision cards are somewhat making the older units more relevant, surprisingly. So I think we're actually going in the right direction, and I think we had a very good, encouraging conversation during the stream. Hopefully we'll do more of those live streams discussing more important topics regarding War of the Visions. Today, the topic at hand is going to be about resonance. That is correct. Now, this is something I have pretty much been ignoring. I haven't really did a lot of research on it. In fact, I think most of the time I just kind of play the game and don't think too much about it. But there's a lot of little things attached to this concept of resonance, and I think it's a great time for people to kind of either learn about it or maybe go back and kind of review it. Now, it's important to understand that when you get a brand new Esper, you have to equip it to units that you ideally want to pair them up with. But one thing we need to keep in mind is there's this thing called resonance. So let's take a quick look. As you can see, there's resonances and there's resistances when you open up the window for your specific Esper. Let's go ahead and click on resonance. So let's take a look at how actual degree of resonance work. Now, as you can see, there is levels for these little hearts, or as you view, basically affinity, as the game likes to call it, resonance. So when you take a look at it, 1 out of 10 means you're only actually receiving 10% of the Esper stats. So that's not a lot, meaning you have to work pretty hard at leveling up your Espers. And let's take a look at Orlando. Obviously it's at 100%. And it's kind of neat that it shows me how many units I own. I have 69 units. And only 3 of them so far have been paired up with Odin. So that means I need to work harder to get some of my other units if I want to show them off in terms of arena or guild wars. So of course that's something I need to really be working on. And because of the stats that you can see here, you just have to simply multiply by that number by the percentage of your resonance level. So for example, 700, let's just say 700 HP. That means at 10% I'm only getting 70. And to show that up, let's go ahead and take a quick look. Let's just go set up a battle sort of, and then we don't have to actually go into battle. I have a lot of parties set up, so let's see if we can find an actual party in which we can use a unit. I think I have ice. I don't have ice? No, I do not have ice. Very interesting. I do not have ice. So let's just go ahead and set up a quick space. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at my Gilgamesh. So click on him, and you're going to see the stats. 1,730. So we established that 699 was from Odin, and he's only at level 1. So technically speaking, he should only get 69.9 or 70, which means it'll bring him up to 1,800. Let's see if that actually works. Oh, magic, right? So I was right. He got roughly estimated, because the game will round up, to 70. So there you see that it is important to be leveling up your resonances and pair them up in accordance to the unit that you want to increase the stats for. Something I didn't really think too much about before. I knew something was going on with resonance, but I didn't really understand how it actually worked, and I didn't really understand the levels it worked. Another important thing to keep in mind is there's actually resonances, or again called affinity in the game, based off characters pairing up with other characters. So all you have to do is click on your unit, go to your stat details, and click on affinity. So as you can see, her included, there's 8 other units that she pairs up with. I have a total of 69 units. So as you can see, I've been playing my Auguries with these units a lot more so than others. And pretty much a lot of these other units are just used for farming purposes and or just raising something. So therefore the affinity isn't all there. So it is important that if you're looking for a specific team or a combination of units in terms of taking them for PvE or PvP or whatever, you have to make sure that you also work on your affinity. The longer they play with each other on the same team, the faster it is obviously to increase their affinity. But let's take a look at it to see what does affinity actually mean. Now obviously you can just simply read this. Affinity between units increase when they embark together on the same battle. And also they'll be getting stat boosts with each other, but they have to be within distance. And that's the important thing. They have to be within distance. So let's take a look at Orlando. As you can see, Auguries gains 10% agility, 15% dex, and 10% luck. And they have to be within a range of 2 of each other. And this is at max level of affinity. Now let's just go ahead and take a look at level 3. So we have 10, 10, and 0. Let's go back again. What do we get? 10, 15, 10. So looks like you're gaining about 5% increments at each level, right? Because you'll gain 5% here, an additional 10% of luck at level 5. So very important to understand this concept. And I think that's what makes this game a lot more strategic than perhaps when you first encounter this game. There's so many numbers to memorize. There are so many things you need to think about. You know, this game is very deep, very rewarding when it comes to you better preparing yourself in terms of not only leveling up your units, because reaching level 99 isn't actual end of the character. There's so many things you need to work on. And speaking of which, one thing that I feel like in relation to the topic of power creeping is potentially increasing the level cap. Now I talked about this during my stream, and I know most people probably don't want to sit around for a 2-hour session of the actual discussion of the power creeping topic conversation, but bear in mind that conversation only took place for maybe roughly 20-30 minutes, and that was somewhere along within the first hour. So if you wanted to check that out, I recommend checking it out for maybe just like fast forward a little bit until you get to the topic conversation, and then you can go ahead and skip the rest. But one thing I did touch up on, and that's something I'm pretty adamant about, is the fact that I don't enjoy games if they increase the level cap of the units. This is not an MMO. There's no reason to give us expansion packs, right? There's constant updating of contents. So there's no real reason to increase the level cap, other than to obviously make everything more bloated. And I'm not a fan of that because as an RPG player since I was a little kid, I always enjoy the concept of the max level being level 99. It's kind of like you're a little kid, you pop in your disc or your cartridge and you're like, all right, my goal is to get to level 99 on this specific character, and I finally did my job of reaching the cap. And I think this game, it's paying a lot of, you know, homage to that older concept of RPGs, right? Getting to level 99, boom, you're happy. But we all know that hopefully this game doesn't go that direction, because if they did, then the companies truly don't care about their game anymore. Like, at least that's how I look at it, right? With the Final Fantasy Brave Exvius, with Brave Frontier, the increased caps, they added extra stars. I hated that concept. There are much better ways to increase the power of your units, increase the power of your account, other than the simple fixes of increasing caps. And I think this game itself is doing a great job in terms of balance, right? Even though they're adding skills to vision cards, even though they're adding things to master abilities and things like that, there's still a balance. And eventually, all the other elements is gonna balance out. And I think that's the key to this game, is the elements. The elements is what keep things in check. Now, having said all of that, remember, level 99 is not the end game for units. That is just you reaching the beginning. That is just you beginning to start having a good feel about that unit. Make sure you level up your Esper resonance. Make sure you power up your units' affinities. Make sure you get your equipment going. Make sure you get your actual Espers level up to extract more stats. And of course, make sure you level up your vision cards. This will all, as a total package, make your character be the character that they should be or deserve to be. I think that's all the time for this video. I want to thank you for watching. Again, I want to thank for all the positive support for this channel, and hopefully we'll grow a lot faster. And for those of you who have not subscribed to the channel, I ask you now, please subscribe so we can get to 1,000 a lot faster, because there are a lot of extra tools as a YouTuber that I have access to better engage myself with the community. As always, take care of yourself, all your loved ones. May your summons be fruitful and may your farming be fast. Take care. Nash Taters out.